I think that in terms of constructive action regarding the killer cops issue, yeah, of course, going out to protests and community meetings and so on is very important. However, returning to the Gosho on reprimanding Bodhisattva Hachiman, where Nichiren talks, he says, well, you know, Bodhisattva Hachiman took this vow to protect 100 reigns, 100 emperors, but by the time of the 86th emperor, there was like internal revolt, and you know, this one got deposed, and that one got beheaded, and so on and so forth. So Nichiren took this very seriously and started asking why, you know, why is this vow not being fulfilled? And he did his homework, and he came up. He says, you know, there was actually an inscription on a stone tablet dedicated to Bodhisattva Hachiman, and the inscription said that he would only protect upright rulers. And then he goes on to say that in the secular sense, upright means a ruler who tells no lies. So we can take this to mean that honesty in government is crucial to our fortune, that we will lose the protection of the Buddhist gods or the protective functions of the universe, whatever you want to call it, if government is not honest. Now, when we talk about passages in the Gosho regarding the ruler, you know, the emperor or whatever, most people think of this in terms of the government, but we have to remember that this is a constitutional republic. We are the proper rulers, and Congress is just a legal committee that we have hired to write the laws that we want. This is something that we need to understand. We are responsible for what Congress does because we are ultimately the sovereign. We are collectively the ruler. There is no individual ruler in this country. Okay, the ruler is a collective. It is the collective will of the electorate, of the voting populace. So we need to understand that. We need to understand that we have got to control our government. And we have to understand that our service to our Lord, again going back to the Gosho, the very famous quote in one letter to Shijo Kingo saying, regard your service to your Lord as the practice of the Lotus Sutra. This keeps being translated as just work means work hard on your job, but which is true. But there is also a political dimension.
And pay your taxes.
And pay your, yeah, right. Render unto Caesar, right? So, but President Ikeda actually in one episode of the New Human Revolution was talking with one of the presidents, I forget if it was Toda or Ikeda, talking to the then high priest, and they were discussing this passage in the Gosho, and they agreed that that does also include our political responsibilities as citizens to, and again I quote from President Ikeda, take responsibility for our country's direction, especially the youth division, to make sure that the country is just. And again, as I said, this has been translated into simply working hard on our jobs. I have to say, with no ill will and with a sincere desire to protect everybody, basically, from shit, this could be a problem. Protect everybody from these misunderstandings and these superficial and incomplete interpretations of the law. I don't think I have my urinal. Oh, this could get ugly. Okay, forget that. So that's why we do need to understand that if we are going to take Buddhism seriously, that we have to take our political responsibilities seriously. We have to use the teachings and practice of Buddhism to enable us to find powerful but non-violent ways of controlling our government. And the government will respond with violence. The government will respond with violence. For example, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated by the state. In 1999, a civil jury in Memphis found that the city of Memphis, the state of Tennessee, and the U.S. government conspired to have Martin Luther King assassinated, and then pinned it because they'd been through this before, and they had learned that whenever they do that, they need to have somebody else that they can pin it on. So they have to set it up and frame someone else, James Earl Ray in this case. Okay, this is realistically what's going on in this country. And when we have, for example, passages in the Gosho talking about the ruler being forced to obey the ministers instead of the ministers carrying out the will of the ruler, that this is a disaster for the country. This is
we're not supposed to smoke
one of the three calamities. Oh, I'm sorry.